स्वाध्यायेन व्रतैर्होमैस्त्रैविध्येन जया सुतैः महायज्ञैश्च यज्ञैश्च ब्राह्मीयं क्रियते तनुः. How do we make our tanu? Tanu means our body. How do we make ourselves Brahmanic? Brahmiyam kriyate tanuhu. The body is made Brahmanic. Brahmanic means spiritual. Brahman we say, right? Brahman, today we say Brahman is a caste Brahman, but reality in the Vedic scriptures, Brahman means one who is philosophical, one who is spiritual oriented person. A person who is spiritual and a teacher, an acharya, a tapasvi can only become a Brahman in the previous Varna system. Today we call ourselves like, I have taken birth in a Brahmin family, so I call myself as Brahmin. No, now if you have to become a Brahmin, then Maharishi Manu and Maharishi Dhananda Saraswati says Swadhyayena. Most important is Swadhyaya, Swa Adhyayan, understanding who are we. If we don't have this mentality in our life, that Swa Adhyayan, we don't do Adhyayan of ourselves. We always do Adhyayan of our body. We will try to do makeup, we will try to do 6-pack, 8-pack, gym body, try to wear different type of attractive clothes, etc. But we never understand Swadhyaya. We never do Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya has two meanings. One is understanding who we are. Other one is Swadhyaya Moksha Shastra Adhyayanam. The Shastras which is taking us towards moksha, reading those Shastras, doing Adhyayan of those Shastras is also Swadhyaya. So because that is also when we study, what happens, we will also understand who we are. When we study Moksha Shastra, we will understand who we are. So Swadhyaya Maharishi writes, study and teaching of all the knowledge. So if we have to become Brahmanic and spiritual, first of all we must do Swadhyaya. And then further, Vratair Homais Traividyena Yajjaya. Vrata means observing Brahmacharya and the rules of sexual purity. Brahmacharya means sexual purity, means before marriage controlling the senses, after marriage joining with the partner only for the purpose of obtaining kids in the Grihastha. This is called as observance of the rules of sexual purity and truthfulness. This is Vratai. Vratai means Satya, Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya. This 5 is called as Mahavrat in the Vedic Dharma. So in that Vrat, mostly when people say Vrat, either it is truthfulness or it is Brahmacharya. Next, Homa. Every day Agnihotra. Morning and evening. If we don't do Agnihotra, then we can never become spiritual minded. Spiritual minded in the sense from the point of view of Paramatma and Rishi Munis. We must do Agnihotra. And Maharishi writes, Homa, that is Agnihotra, etc. and also acceptance of truth and abandonment of untruth and propagation of true knowledge. See, Homa is doing Agnihotra, acceptance of truth and abandonment of untruth and propagation of true knowledge. This is what Maharishi writes in Homa. And then we can become a Brahman. Then next one is Traividya. Traividya, 3 Vidya are there in Vedas, which is Karma, Upasana and Gyan. Gyan, Karma and Upasana. Understanding. 4th is Traividya or Veda enjoined deed. Vedic karma, Vedic worship and Vedic knowledge. This is Traividya. And the next one is Ijjaya. Ijjaya means doing Purnamasi and doing Amavasya Yajna. That is semi-monthly performance which is done every 15 days for Purnamasi and Amavasya. The next one is Suta. Suta means getting children in Grihastha. Yeah, if due to medical problem we are unable to get kids, that's a different case. But generally we must enter Grihastha and try to get kids, Suta. And next one is Mahayajnai. Mahayajna means great duties, that is the 5 daily religious duties, which is Brahma Yajna, Deva Yajna, Pitri Yajna, Bali Vaishwadeva Yajna, and Atiti Yajna. What is Brahma Yajna? Brahma Yajna is meditation. Brahma Yajna is chanting Gayatri Mantra. Brahma Yajna is chanting name jap of Paramatma. Brahma Yajna is joining ourselves with Paramatma early in the morning and in the evening time. Then Deva Yajna, which is daily Agnihotra. And then Pitri Yajna, which is service to parents, service to elders in our house, etc. Then Vaishwadeva Yajna, feeding the needy people, like feeding a beggar, feeding a person who does not have limbs, feeding animals. These are all comes under Bali Vaishwadeva Yajna. Then Atiti Yajna means hospitality to the learned guest who comes to our house. If somebody comes to your house and that person seems to be a learned acharya, he is learned of Vedas, you must do Atiti Yajna. You must do Seva Satkar to that person, either men or women. Next one is Yajna, that is performance of Agnishtoma, means are the development of art and craft and science. So when we are doing all those things, then Kriyate Brahmiyam Kriyate Tanuhu, then the body, then we can make ourselves spiritual and spiritual or Brahmanic. Then we can call ourselves as Brahman. Like, we keep the surname. My name is so and so Iyer. In South India, they call us Iyer. In North India, they call us Arya or Sharma or Verma, etc., etc. These are all, or Upadhyaya, etc. These are all Brahmin surnames, right? We can keep surnames, but if we are not doing these things, what is the use of surname? So, if you want to call yourself as Arya, then we must do all those things in our life. What is that? Swadhyaya, then Vrata, Ahimsa, and Brahmacharya, and truthfulness. Vrata. Then Homa. Homa also means not only Agnihotra, Homa means acceptance of truth, abandonment of untruth, and propagation of Ved Vidya, true knowledge to everybody. Propagation means spreading the knowledge. Then Traividya, Gyan Karma Upasana of Vedas. Then Sutai, getting children in the Grahasthashrama. Mahayajna, Panchamahayajna. Then Yajneshcha means doing, Yajneshcha means performance of Agnishtoma, development of art and craft and science and helping the society. Then we become a true Brahmin as per the Manu Bhagavan, Manusmriti 2/28 and Maharshi Danan Saraswati. And further Maharshi writes, nobody can become a Brahmin without the following verse. Indriyanam vicharatam vishayeshu upaharishu sanyame yatnamatishtet vidvan yanteva vajinam. Vajinam means horse. Just like a Maharshi writes, just as a qualified driver keeps the horses in control, in the same way one should control the senses, which have the tendency to wander among the objects, tempting mind and soul into evil deeds. So just as a qualified driver, like example, I was explaining this shloka to my daughter yesterday. So whenever you take a car, you are double careful. When you are driving a car, one mistake of yours can result in death of somebody or injury to somebody or injury to yourself, right? Or death to yourself. So you normally, when you drive a car or bike, you are extra careful. Similarly, we must drive our senses extra carefully in our day-to-day life. Every time, my acharya used to say, every time be alert. Udbudhyasva Agne. Uto, Jago means be alert. Kyuki Indriya has the tendency to wander among the objects. When you have a car or when you have a horse, Vajina means horse, but today there is no horse. Today we drive cars. When you don't have the control on the car or the bike, it will go and we will hit somebody. Similarly, when we don't have control on our eyes will see something. Immediately we will go and see something or some gande picture, everything, or our ears will be listening to some gande things. So then the Indriya will tempt the mind and soul into evil deeds. Then we will start doing evil deeds. Mansa vacha karmana. So Maharishi Manu and Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati says nobody can become spiritual without controlling the senses. This sloka I have studied at least 100 times, and every time I read it, I always check whether am I following this or not. So we all must check whether are we following it or not. If we are not following, we must make a very firm plan and sankalp to follow it. This is extremely important shloka. Indriyanam prasangena dosham richati asamshayam sanniyamya tu tanyeva tatah siddhim niyachati. Indriyanam prasangena, when we, the soul that plays in the hands of senses, when we give our atma to the mind, when we surrender ourselves to our mind, or when we surrender ourselves to the indriya, the soul that plays in the hands of the senses does all sorts of evil deeds. असंशयम, इसमें कोई भी संशय नहीं है. There is no doubt. Indriyanam prasangena, when the prasanga happens, when we ourselves surrender to our mind, there is no second thought or doubt that we will 100% commit evil deeds. It achieves its goal only when it keeps mastery over the senses. Again the same thing. We can become spiritual or Brahmanic. Brahmiyam kriyate tanuho. We can do Agnihotra, we can do Swadhyaya, we can do Panchamaha Yajna, we can do Agnishtoma, we can do Trividya, etc. only when we have control on our senses. If we don't have control on our senses and we are doing all these things, then 100% no clear benefit we can derive. We can never become spiritual in our life. That is very, very important. Then you see, Vedastyagascha yajñascha niyamascha tapansi cha na vipradushtabhavasya siddhim gachanti karihichit. Vedas, tyagascha. The Vedas, tyagascha means sannyas, renunciation. Renunciation, yajna, the rules of conduct, austerities, that is tapasya, and other good conducts or other good deeds are of no avail to a man whose character is bad and who has no control over his senses. Vipra dushta bhavasya siddhim gacchati na karhichit. Vipra dushta means one who is against Vipra Purush, one who is against the Vidya, one whose character is bad and one who has no control over his senses. For these people, even the Vedas cannot do any good. Ved cannot do any good. Renunciation, tyag bhavana, we cannot do actually tyag. We will always be indulged in attachment and attraction. Remember that Gita Shloka. Gita Shloka also says the same thing, right? The first thing we will get into attachment. When we get into the sensual mode, we will get into attachment, attraction, then we will go into raga, then kama, krodho bhavati, then we will get into kama, then we will go to krodha, then krodhat, sammoha, ityadi. Please go through that Gita video which I made around a month back. Very, very important Gita video. Then further Maharishi Manu and Maharishi Dayananda Saraswati says, the rules, Vedopakarane chaiva swadhyaya chaiva naityake nanurodho asti anadhyaye homa mantreshu chaiva hi. The rules of vacation, anadhyaya, you cannot leave adhyayan, you cannot leave swadhyaya. The rules of vacation are not applicable to the study and the teaching of the Vedas. Swadhyaya also means teaching of Vedas. Studying of the Vedas is also Swadhyaya. Teaching of Vedas is also Swadhyaya. The rules of vacation is not applicable. You cannot say that, okay, now today coming weekend is coming, Saturday, Sunday, I am going to Kodaikanal, I am going to Ooty, I am going to Kulu, Manali for vacation, so I will not do Agnihotra, I will not do Sandhya Upasana, I will not do Brahma Yajna. This vacation rule is not applicable for the study of Vedas. Wherever you go, you must do all this Nitya Karma. Daily prayers and other daily duties are Homa mantras, as everyday duties do not admit of any break. Even if you go to Kulu Manali or Kodaikanal Ooty, you will not stop eating. You are continuously eating. You will not stop your breathing. You are continuously breathing. You will not stop you will not stop going to washroom. You are daily doing all your daily duties. Regular duty for the body you are doing. So similarly, we must do daily duty to become spiritual. These are all daily tips to become spiritual. controlling our senses, controlling our indriya, controlling our mind, not allowing the soul to be taken over by mind. On the other hand, controlling the mind by our soul, and then doing the daily nitya karma, panchamaha yajna and homa, accepting the truth, following brahmacharya, vratair, homair, all those things slowly will make us spiritual, and also we can never leave the worship of Paramatma. Daily prayer you can never leave. And naityake nasti अनध्यायो ब्रह्मसत्रं हि तत्स्मृतं ब्रह्माहुति हुतं पुण्यमन अनध्याय वषट्कृतं punyam anadhyaya vashadkritam. Just as respiration is an ever continuing work and cannot be withheld, similarly daily duties should be performed every day without break. Agnihotra and other good actions are useful even when they are done during vacations. Just as untruth, that is falsehood, is always sinful and truthfulness is always a virtue, similarly good actions should be done in all times and bad actions should be avoided always. And further, abhivadanashilasya nityam vriddha upasevinah chatwaritasya vardanta ayurvidya yashobalam. See, extremely important, the life, our knowledge, our fame, our strength, all these four things will increase if a man or woman who is meek and submissive and serves the learned and the elderly persons. The above four things do not increase in case of the man or woman who does not behave so. So we must become meek, we must become submissive, and we must serve the learned and the elderly persons. Then our ayu will increase, name and fame will increase, our strength will increase, our knowledge will increase, wisdom will increase daily by service to acharya and elder people. So then we will become spiritual. Then ahimsaiva bhutanam karyam shreyo anushasanam vak chaiva madurashalakshana parayojaya dharmamichata. It is the duty of the learned men and scholars that they should be free from ill will and conduct the people to the path of well-being. They must be free of ill will and they must conduct these are all learned men and scholars. So we must find such an acharya who is learned men and scholars. They will, first of all, they will not do any ill activities and they will also guide us to the path of well-being. The teachers should always use sweet and decent language. Whoever is desirous of propagation of righteousness should always follow the truth and advise others to do so. A man who keeps his speech and mind pure under control obtains all good accruable from the study of the Vedas. A man who keeps his speech and mind pure and under control obtains all the good accruable by the study of the Vedas. Then Sammanad Brahmano Nityam Udvijet Vishadiva Amritasya Yeva Chang Cha Akankshed Avamanasya Sarvada. That Brahman alone is the actual knower of the Vedas and Paramatma, Almighty God, who is ever afraid of fame as poison and who keenly seeks ill names as if it is a nectar. Somebody is praising me, not me, praising a true spiritual seeker. He will be afraid of others' praise and he will always likes other to dislike him or other to curse him. He will seek that as a nectar. For him, the praise is becoming a poison. This person alone can become a Brahman, means a very spiritual person who is actually, he will actually know Paramatma and Vedas, says Manusmriti and Maharshidananda Saraswati. So thus should male and female students invested in the sake. So these are next is advice to students. But so these are some of the points which will make us spiritual. I made this video I think 4 to 5 years back, but that time maybe I just read, but I did not explain this much. Now when we study again and again, we also get more knowledge. Maybe I can make this video again after 1 year, but the more we revise the knowledge, the more we will have thinking and attitude towards control of our senses and improvement of our life quality. Thank you so much. Namaste. Om.